Yeah. Welcome, Mike, to Big Content. This is our first live stream of all time. You're witnessing greatness. Nobody's witnessing greatness. We probably don't have anyone in here, but we figured we didn't get to film over the weekend. Jack was in here with his entire team. They made themselves look busy, at least. I don't really know if they were doing anything productive in there besides talking about the WNBA.
Yes.
So rather than missing an episode, we wanted to buckle up and do a live stream, and then we'll probably film an actual episode after we turn these cameras off for next week, so we will not miss. So we're going to answer some of the questions that we have from Discord as the live streamers hopefully come in. If we can get like one person in here, that'd be...
Did we send a tweet out?
I sent the original tweet, and then I like quote tweeted it being like, we're live in 10 minutes, whatever, with the link.
All right, I'm going to say that we're live right now.
Please do that.
Just so that people are getting in here. If you're in here, throw a comment.
We got 3 eyeballs. Love to see it. All right. Well, I made the thumbnail and the title of this video talking about like the times of the day to post it, because I remember one of the questions in Discord was like, does it actually matter when you post? Does it matter time of the day as it refers to different like platforms, etc.? My thing on this is I've started to test a little bit with it, and I don't think there's a difference between when you post, between clips, time of the day, and shit like that, even as it pertains to your audience. I kind of think TikTok's algorithm works like this. Like, it pushes it out, and it takes the people that it thinks will perform the best, pushes it to them first. But if no one's, I think it looks at like a percentage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we're going to push it to 100 people. What percentage of that 100 people react to it, engage with it, whatever? So if part of your audience is sleeping, it just doesn't count against that percentage. So I don't think it matters.
I think that I wouldn't post content at 3 a.m.
Okay, that would be like my only pushback on it, was like, okay, if it's like dead middle of the night and nobody is awake, sure, because it kind of gives the platform no choice but to give it to a different audience.
From 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. would be my optimal posting time for the content we're talking about, not tweets. If you're tweeting about a live game, obviously that applies. So yes, I don't think there's necessary, but I'll pose this. I think that the algorithm, right, it sends the content to people who like the content or test it against them. You were posting Ike's lunch at virtually 3 o'clock every day, 2 o'clock every day, which meant TikTok knew to push it to those people, because those same people were on TikTok at that same time, which then helped increase the engagement rate because you were hitting the right people who you knew would watch the show. So I think that there is value to that.
I think there's some nuance to it, especially, I guess, if it's episodical in a sense. But I knew, like, the ones that we're talking about on my personal account, like the 7 things to know if you're moving to New York City, that have kind of been blowing up over the last like week or two, those I would film while I was walking to work. So it was like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. I would just kind of rip them off, get into the office, edit them up real quick. And it was like 9:30 a.m. And I was like, this feels like a bad time to do it because it's early. Anyone on the West Coast that might get it, it's 6 a.m. there, so they're not going to see it. And I was like, I don't really care. So I'm just going to rip them. Had success with those. I think, like, yes, maybe there's a little bit of nuance to it, but I don't think it like really matters. At the end of the day, for me, I think as long as it's quality content, it will win.
Yes, that is absolutely the lead part of this conversation, which is if it's quality content, it will win. Now, I have seen people talk about them posting a piece of quality content that didn't hit, deleting, posting 3 days later, and it going absolutely ballistic.
I don't think that's a time thing.
No, I agree. I'm just saying that sometimes the algorithm is not a perfect science. I would say, right, we're having this conversation for creators. If you're a creator who's like waiting to post something for the perfect time, just send it out is the message.
Agree. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Do you ever repost shit? Like popular ones or things that you were like, damn, I was really proud of this. I thought this was really good. Let me try to make it hit again.
The only thing we've ever done is like our snap shows. Sometimes the thumbnail will get flagged for something. So we'll delete the thumbnail and repost the entire thing. But my content that I make, no, I've never done that. I'd be interested, though, to maybe look into it because I think it could work.
So I was listening to, I forget what podcast it was, but I think the dude that who's the guy who started House of Highlights?
Omar Raja.
Right. He was a guest on the podcast I was listening to, and he was talking about how him and his team have like a very strict setup where they'll release a video and they know within an hour whether or not it's going to hit and like what numbers it should be at within specific time frames. And he said he had one on his personal account that he made about starting House of Highlights. and he was like, this is a really cool story. Like, it probably should do well on social. So he put it out, and first time didn't hit. Edited something, maybe like took out a little bit of the intro.
Well, that's a little different.
Or flatlined it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said he did that 5 times, and the first 4 times he did it, it was like 1,000 views, 10,000 views, 3,000 views,
Right.
18,000 views. 5th time he put it out, 9 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, like there's part of me that's like, I feel weird doing that. Like, it's very like,
I think we got to get over it because
yeah,
it is because it is
That's
how,
fair, it's fair.
how we used to think as content creators, which was like the algorithm and the followers decide if it's good content or not. But if you know it's a good piece of content and it's kind of out of your control, but the key is that he edited it. And actually, I watched a TikTok last night of Gary Vee talking about some of the videos that they do. They change the thumbnail 4 times, they change the title.
Mhm.
So you're not changing the actual content, but things definitely come into account there.
My mindset on that comes from like a YouTube standpoint, where everything is like continuity, and it kind of feels like your YouTube channel tells a little bit of a story if people are following along. Whereas like TikTok, it doesn't actually matter because you're putting out like 5 videos a day, 3 videos a day or whatever, and no one's like really watching all your videos. They're kind of just watching the popular ones that get thrown into your For You page. So I guess that my mindset has always been like, man, if I keep posting this shit, like people are gonna be like, stop posting this over and over again. But they only see the good one of that, the good part of the of the 5 of them. So I mean, ultimately, I think content is king. That's always been the way that we've both felt. But I wouldn't focus too much on the time frame of things.
Okay. Well, let's say what up to the chat right now. We got 19 people live streaming in here.
Joshy baby.
If you post at 3 a.m. and it goes to a new audience, you think you can now capture new viewers?
Well, I think in that sense, like TikTok will see that your usual audience is not online. They're going to push it out to a new demo. Their ultimate goal is to keep you on the platform and keep you engaged. So they don't want to just shove it to a new audience. They want to give it to an audience that's the most like your current audience that likes your stuff. So I think it'll be really, really close in audience to it, but there will be a dip off in performance, I think, because they're not your audience, right? They're close to it, but they're not there. And then that will go back to that percentages where it's like, okay, if 12% of my audience usually likes these videos, but now it's like 8%, it'll slowly start to trickle down and have like less views. I think you could pull a new audience from it, maybe, but
I do think that a lot of the content, like if you have ever watched TikTok late at night, it is like late night type content.
Late night talk.
Yeah. So
Ike talks about how like after like 9 p.m. if he watches, it goes right into like conspiracy TikTok.
Okay, that's Ike's feed specifically. That's not mine, but like I'll get maybe smoking TikTok. I'll get sports gambling TikTok. I'll get like munchy TikTok. So it definitely. You could, if you wanted to target the late night crowd, which is definitely a type of person, I think you could post at 3 a.m. I would really never post at 3 a.m. though. The thing that I genuinely think you're going to get at 3 in the morning is international, because those are the people that are awake.
Matthew asks, how does Chat GPT or other AI generated content platforms fit into your marketing toolbox? We did an episode, I think 2 weeks ago, specifically talking about Chat GPT. I think it's something that's very new. And I think the way to capitalize on it right now is because it's so new is almost learning the platform itself and teaching about the platform, right? Like I don't have any plans right now until anything revolutionary happens with these things to actually like in a practical sense, fit it into what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's like virtual reality. It's like, how are you going to implement your business? It's like, it's not useful at all right now, until it is basically. Are you guys like, did you guys talk about anything AI Chat GPT related when you had your meeting?
No, that's not anything. I think it's just an opportunity for creators. If you think it's interesting, like you could become the Chat GPT TikToker, like we kind of discussed. But outside of that, I think you could get like a big win. Like we could probably do a funny viral thing. Like we use Chat GPT to take a first touchdown better. And like that piece of content could go
something
viral.
Like predict the Super Bowl winner for this year. Or whatever.
Exactly. But besides that, I don't think it's a consistent marketing tool anywhere close anytime soon.
I think there could be something with like fantasy now. I'm thinking of even if I'm doing like a mock draft next year or a live stream of a real draft and be like, I'm going to let Chat GPT pick my fantasy football team and then like kind of follow along throughout the year and see how it does. I think those are the things. But again, from a practical perspective, I don't think it's automating any of the jobs that you need in your business right now. I'm sure in 5 years, very different answer, but still ahead of its time. Spiffy T Football Combat. What a name. Can we get a little bit more elaboration on where that comes from?
ChatGPT made that.
Make my YouTube name, please. Should we be more concerned with human psychology of what gets attention or decoding an actual algorithm to gain momentum?
100%. because what I think everyone knows who's
I think it
in
was
this,
which one? It's not you. It wasn't a yes or no.
100% we should be more concerned with human psychology because everyone knows basically what makes up the algorithm. Now, not as many people play with it and study it and react to it like we do who creates content on a daily basis, but the human psychology aspect, I think this is what Mr. Beast does probably better than everyone else. He worries about thinking about how people are going to be stuck, how people like he knows that first second is important.
Mhm.
Everyone knows that now, but no one knows what's going to draw the viewer in and playing around with that type of thing. So I think human psychology and what the audience wants is really what we should be focused on.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. Like trying to decode an actual algorithm. I think things that work on a human psychology behavior are like the emotions attached to what you're doing.
Yeah.
For instance, like you had the TikTok yesterday that went viral. You were like ranking the top 15 stadiums in terms of like food for you did the NFL tour basically. I think that's I don't think that's something you can get into like an algorithm. People being like fans of things, like the emotions that they get when they watch the video and they're like, oh, you're ranking my fucking team worse than this. You tried the wrong things or whatever. I don't think you could really like capture the algorithm. Like, yeah, they might, that kind of stuff might help you from
well, let me give you the breakdown, right? And the two sides of it, right? Human psychology, rankings, very reactionary, very passionate. Algorithm, engagement, comments, right? So it's always the split. What I think is obvious is the number two side, which is like we wanted to create as many engagements as possible for the algorithm. What's less obvious and genuinely unintentional, but I knew that this was going like I genuinely ranked them how I felt about them. But the first three, the worst three foods was Philadelphia, New York, and Los Angeles. Big markets,
yeah.
like so it was very and Philly fans off the top, like you knew that was going to drive a ton of Philly comments. Those are the top comments. I don't think like we could have planned that, but if we had taken more time to actually plan that out intentionally, I think that's why it resulted that way. So I think the answer is human psych.
Yeah, and I also with the New York City ones that I've been doing, I've intentionally I didn't sit down and like think about it, but I intentionally start off with something that's a little funnier that people outside of New York wouldn't actually know.
Right.
So for instance, like the tarot card readers of the one, I'm like, they're the most beautiful women ever. They don't like you.
Yeah.
I knew that would hit rather than being like you could find
pipes.
furniture. The pipes. Like everyone knows that kind of shit.
But it's both things, right? It's like you are doing the human psych side and then playing it into the algorithm. What I would say is if you've listened to us talk enough, you kind of know the algorithm. It's really not as complex. Like it's first, second, watch time, and quick moving content, right? And then if you want to add a call to action, which is to follow you, that'll increase your like the algo is actually quite simple. It's this human psych piece that is not. He's fucking with me. What an asshole. Please block Abe right now.
No.
Block him. Block him.
Nope.
Block him.
This is gonna be
it's not even funny. Block him. He's such a scumbag. But anyways, yeah, human psychology. I hate him. And what's up, Four Eyes?
What up, Eddie baby? Clinton, Adom, EJ, the GOAT. Any tips on starting a podcast? Yeah, quick formula right now. Value, consistency, boom. That's all I got to give you. Give value in your podcast. Do it for a very, very long time. Show up consistently. Start a routine, whether it's 1 day a week, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, and make sure that you're only thinking about the audience when you go into the podcast. Think about having them leave your podcast and being like, I never thought of this that way. That was entertaining. You know, I just learned something that I didn't know before. You do that, you'll start racking up audience members because they continue to feel like every time they leave your video, he's willing to put the work in for me. He's learning this shit so that I don't have to. So value, consistency, rip. Jack's about that before.
Yeah. That would be my advice, right? So your advice is like what the content of it should be. My advice is like just go and do it. That's the first step. I mean, that's my biggest belief is like 90% of people who want to be creators, they just won't start it. So I always say just like go do it. But you have created this creator playbook, which will actually, I think, help people get there instead of me just being like, yeah, just start, you know. He's not practicing. I know that he's trolling. I did make me stop for 1 second. It was really fucked up of him to do that. I'm very sad.
Update. Tua ruled out. Yeah, we know it. Advice, value, consistency always pays off. You stick to them. Correct. What else we got going on here? Any other questions for content?
Discord specific questions?
Oh, I'm sure we do
Okay.
somewhere. Yeah.
All right, pull those up right now.
Don't tell me what to do.
God. Yeah. So, all right. So, right now, in case you guys are not following Nick and I on TikTok, we're in a little bit of a competition by accident. So, Nick's now a New York TikToker. Every video he puts out is getting 1 million views on how to move within New York, on how to, you got to do like how to get girls in New York next. I feel like
Easy.
not that you know about it,
Easy.
but
Make content about
about New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick's have more DM slides than any that at any point in your life. And it's not just girls, right?
I mean, it's everybody.
It's everyone.
It's aliens. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's Lamar Jackson now that he's practicing.
Right now that he's a Jet.
Yeah.
I mean, another thing. Okay, if we want to go back to the human psychology piece, because I think using our content right now that's blowing up is actually super useful case study. For the Giants game, I said New York, and we rated the food. And what do you think everyone's biggest reaction to that was?
Say that again.
So for it was like we went to the Eagles game, so Philly was 15. Then we went to the Giants game, so MetLife, New York was 14. And then everyone was freaking out. Oh, it's technically New Jersey, right?
They don't want to be associated with it.
Yeah. And I think that like even when I talk about Chicky and Pete's, the caption, our video editor didn't know what chicken pizza was, so he wrote chicken pizza. So that gets comment. Like you can do those little things that increases engagement because no one on the internet has ever missed anything.
So like when let's say because you see the first 3 and then it's all people from those cities reacting, being like, you got the wrong things. Like what's going through your mind in that? Is it just like, fuck, like I should have had those things instead? Or are you just like, I don't give a fuck?
No. So everything we did was calculated. Like we did one chicken tender thing because we wanted to relate it to Snapback Kitchen. We did a specialty item because we wanted to try something. And then we did a hot dog. So in Philly, we didn't get the cheesesteak because we got a cheesesteak earlier in the day. Probably should have gotten it at the stadium for content purposes. But then I did fuck up and call the croquettes empanadas. And the way I pronounce empanadas, I said like empanadas or something. Like all these things I'm getting comments about. The only one that I feel like I want to respond to is people being like, who's this rich kid? Like, how much did this cost your dad? Because I think it could be a great opportunity to promote Snapback Sports.
I agree. You should do a Q&A on that afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so let me ask you this, because I get free advice from you, even though your time is worth millions. At this point, we might be in the billions. Yeah. Would you continue to just put out all these pieces of content, right? So we did 15 to 11. I'll do 10 to 6, 5 to 1. Then we're going to do stadiums. Then we're going to do atmosphere. Then we're going to do how much it costs. And just like same format, which will continue to hit this audience. Or would you respond in between? Like, or should I wait till after? That's what I'm having.
I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters?
No, I don't think it matters. I think as long as the content is there, it's not going to affect what pieces of content see the right audience members.
I don't know. I think the consistency in like, because what I've seen is other videos on the account are getting a ton of views. So if someone now lands on the page and they're like, oh, he does rankings on all this stuff, this is what I want to do, versus today, it's just like that one. Then it might be, if I talk about Snapback, someone might not care about that. Now,
my question is, what do you want to put out? You should, if you seem like you want to answer that question. I don't think you should hold back because of that.
But why not just wait, 2 weeks?
I think you're in the midst of a run right now. I think that's content that you should get in front of as many eyeballs as possible. Like those are I think the most useful eyeballs that you could get on your content. I think you should do it while you're in the midst of a good run. Yeah. Like even those New York videos that I'm putting out, I'll put out 15 non-New York related videos in the middle of it that don't do shit. Right. Like 10K views, whatever, compared to those ones. And then I'll just rip that New York one whenever I want. Yeah. Do it. And it shoots back up, and I'm like, that's fine. Like, I don't really care. Those are going to perform well because I've already seen the audience like come back to those multiple times. Yeah,
that's what I'm fighting between right now.
I would rip it. I wouldn't think twice about it.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you then, if you were to do it, because you respond, right? Like you have a very clear format right now. You're walking around New York, you're showing New York, and then when you respond, it's normally just like you hear apartment or something. Would you respond in more of like a well-edited video response? Or do you think it's just fine to rip like a Q&A? Because that is objectively like not as clean as a piece of content.
I mean, you want them to know more about like snapback. I think
Yeah.
you should do whatever's natural too, or whatever
Right.
you feel like would be
Right.
better for you. Like
Yeah.
for me, I like just sitting down and talking like
Me
this,
too,
like
yeah.
live Q&A. I think it gives a more like real raw version. Like
Yeah.
if that's how if you want snapbacks, one of the pillars to be like transparency and shit like that, it's a way to make you a little bit more relatable and not as much like, oh, we're traveling to every stadium, like some shit you could never do. But like,
no, I'm even talking like, should we have the video editor edit something and then I voice over like what snapback is, same format as what's working, or do the Q&A in the apartment, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've for me, I just like doing it kind of like ripping, and I've had some of those have success. Like when I was talking about like the bash or whatever, someone was like, "How are you in a 600 person fantasy league?" I replied to it, explained it, and that's up to like 250,000 now. So that's new eyeballs on that content just from sitting there and talking about it. But I really wouldn't overthink that kind of stuff. I would just answer the question and like put it out there for people that want to watch it. And I'm sure the next time you put the video out, it won't be affected by the
All right, well, yeah, let's get Josh's comment out there. Your concessions TikTok came across my feed last night without me following. Maybe we'll follow you once you guess an Ike's lunch correct.
What's concessions TikTok? What do I do about concessions?
Like that's concessions. The food at the stadium are called the concessions.
Oh, he was talking to you. I thought he was talking to me.
Yeah. That's fucked up because Ike's lunch is on a on a mini retirement right now.
We're on a permanent break.
Break.
We're an indefinite permanent suspension without pay. Yeah.
Although I did see a moment of I kind of don't want this to be over yesterday.
No, it was fake. No, it was fake emotion.
It was lust. It was lust for us.
It was a minute of lust that I collapsed because I was drunk at 3 a.m. and the bar lights came on. That's what it was.
I feel that.
But I know better than that.
Okay.
I'm old experienced. Your concessions TikTok came across my feed last night without me following. I mean, that's the beauty. Like you almost like tap into our audience. And once your shit that's what we were talking about. Like, you post shit at 3 a.m. when your audience is not awake.
Yeah.
Guess who's the next closest audience to his audience? Probably our audience.
Right.
We follow him. He follows us. We interact with each other a lot. So like, that's what I was going back to. Whereas like, Josh, you might not be in his direct audience, but you're probably the next most likely person to watch a video like that because they know you like sports. They know you like the same genre of content.
Just why my belief on collaboration is so big. Like we're exchanging followers, but it's not like, Josh isn't going to unfollow you because he's going to follow me. And then one final thing here, another thing, now that we've had one video blow up, we want to in the content plan, how do we capture more followers? So like at the end of each video, we'll say follow for the next rankings, follow for this. We actually have a big plan for the #1 food ranking.
Did you not put
I didn't do
put anything at the end of the first one?
Yeah, not at the initial one.
Did you see a big follower bump from it though?
Yeah,
like
right?
10K. Okay,
Crazy.
There you go. So your concessions, I need more green slips from undersmen that people follow them on. Oh, how did your you were scorching hot. Did it continue?
It is not continued. NFL on Sunday, we ended up about even, lost the Knicks one at the game the other night. So yeah, we're still up big, but like that insane run that we were on has slowed at least a little bit.
Okay.
Which is actually really funny because our depositors, our signups for Underdog went really, really big, went on this hot streak. So although we continue to preach like it's for fun, it's for entertainment, if you follow me over time, there's absolutely zero guarantee you're going to win money. But in
the short term, we guarantee.
but in the short term, yeah, I am really hot and people got really excited about it. So it's kind of just like this capitalizing while things are hot idea. So it applied there.
New York, I just got to keep ripping them out.
You do.
I don't have anything that's like unoriginal from other cities left. I feel like I must, I guess.
What do you mean?
Like that series, I'm getting to a point where I'm just like, I don't really know what else to fucking.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
But here's the problem.
You sound like every creator you are the one who taught me the playbook, the add value, come up with 5 different things for each. Bro, how to get girls in New York City, how to not get girls in New York City. You could come up with 30 different things for that. You could come up with the best places to eat, the worst places to eat, what not to do.
But that shit.
No, not that.
I don't even know that shit. Yeah.
Well, what do you know?
I don't eat anything. Weeks. I'd be lying.
How to survive in New York without eating.
Yeah. Oh, love that shit. Yeah. Pop of Adderall.
Exactly. Red Bull, Monster. I mean, whatever that is. C4 energy drink.
Yeah, that one's out of pocket. I didn't need that today. What if I want to become a content creator in sports, but I don't even know where to start? So
Tyler is our boy. Tyler, he's a big Snapback Sports fan. He follows the podcast, etc. Big Cincy guy. Wants me to come out. So I'm gonna let Nick start, Tyler, because I think he's got really good advice here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really good, but it's just here's the thing. Like, if you want to become something, you have to do it. Like, there's nothing else I can really say. But what if I want to become a content creator in sports? You have to create sports content.
Right.
There's no other way around it. Like, we don't live in the world 15 years ago where you're hoping someone sees a resume where you tell them what you're good at, and they're just on a whim. They're like, I kind of believe this kid. It's like, no, your portfolio. If you're a content creator, you're almost like an artist.
Yeah.
Where if someone wants you to do a piece of creative whatever for them, and nowadays, like, we are creatives in the world, right? We are considered those type of people. They need to see a portfolio. Your portfolio is your YouTube channel, it's your Twitter, it's your Instagram, it's your TikTok, all that stuff. You just have to start. Again, it goes back to value. Think about the creators that inspire you, what type of value that they give you, right? And then put your own twist on it about things that you know, about things that you're passionate about. So you really have to start. In order to become a sports content creator, you have to create content about sports.
Yep. And I would say that's the high level. And then we'll give you like the actionable stuff, which is go on your TikTok right now, get the green screen and put a Cincinnati Bengals player behind it and just start ripping. This is why Joe Burrow is going to win the NFL Super Bowl. This is why T. Higgins is the best wide receiver in the league. I mean, I know you know everything Cincy, so start with what you know and then just figure it out on TikTok. Then go comment on other big NFL TikTokers and be like, yo, did you see my piece of content on the Bengals? Or add value in the comment section and be relentless with it. But I would start on TikTok. We talk about YouTube Shorts a lot, but if you've never created a piece of content
TikTok
before,
feels a lot more community based too right now,
right.
where like the comments matter. YouTube Shorts feels like it's
just out.
The virality can happen,
Right.
but it doesn't actually feel like you're building a community or engagement.
100%.
Yeah, which I would capitalize on this playoff run that hopefully Cincinnati has right now and just start, doing what you got.
They're done on Sunday.
Oh, that's right. Lamar Jackson's practicing.
Go Ravens.
Yeah. Okay. What are they, 7.5?
Yeah.
Not enough.
We're gonna win.
Touchdowns.
We're gonna win.
I'm happy for you. Yeah, I would try to make some outrageous content, right? Outrageous content that you believe in. Just like predicting every single game. Like, this is exactly why the Bengals are going to win by this score.
And if you want to be strategic about it, like genuinely, if you are a Cincy creator, We Hoopin, he's a TikToker who's a Ravens fan. I'm, now a TikToker, no dancing though, who's a Ravens fan. Create a video on why the Cincinnati Bengals are going to kill the Ravens on Sunday and maybe leave a little breadcrumb that's not necessarily factual. And then comment on my TikTok, comment on We Hoopin's TikTok, comment on there's the two kids from Baltimore who do it too. And maybe get them to stitch it or engage or comment. That's actually a pretty common thing on TikTok I've seen is like someone will make it right. You made a video about the guitar guy and he commented on your video and it didn't even get a crazy amount of views.
Not at all.
But yeah, once you tag people kind of see it. So there's so many ways. Just think about it from like a logistical standpoint, which I think goes back to the human psychology thing. Like no one really does think about, like Kris Jenner is the GOAT. Like she's been playing this human psychology game all along without an algorithm, and people need to bring that to the algorithm.
Vince,
I was gonna say,
what's up, fellas? Love all the content y'all do and what pops up in the content channel on Discord. I am thinking about making content following my law school journey starting this year. Thoughts? So
100% for me.
100%. Like if the question is do it or not do it, of course it's do it.
No, but like, will it be relatable? 100%. Will people care about this? Will it get people through law school? Will it be students who want to go to law school? Like there is absolutely an audience for this.
I think so as well. I do think that it goes back to what I was saying before. A lot of people kind of just come in, and this was actually a question. Okay, so someone asked like, should I do in the Discord was like, should I do an old school live stream show, like call-in show on Sundays or whatever?
Yeah.
And in my eyes, lifestyle content is a privilege. It's something that's earned.
Right. No
one's going to watch your lifestyle content from the start until you've given them enough value in their life where they give a shit about what your life is. And that was not true probably 15 years ago when vlogging first started. People were like, whoa, this is fascinating. Yeah. And now everyone tries to do that from the jump, and it's very difficult to break through that way. Yeah. So again, I would go back to figuring out a way that you can add value and almost teach people, almost like if you're an aspiring high school student becoming a law, like teach the people you can. Don't try to teach lawyers because you're not a lawyer yet, right? They know more about it than you do. Mm-hmm. But the lifestyle content, I told the guy, I was like, live streaming stuff is, in my opinion, a type of lifestyle content.
Right.
Because you're live and you're interacting and you're really building a community that way,
Yeah.
which is why we have 19 people in here, which is an extremely low number. Like, you got to earn every single person that cares about your lifestyle content. And it won't be something that builds your audience. It will be something that helps your audience relate to you, but it's almost like you got to focus on building the audience first before you start that. So if you do that, I love.
But are you saying that his content about law school journey would be, I'm not thinking it's like day in the life necessarily. My head went to
I kind of was.
Okay. So I think the suggestion would be like how to study for, like, here's how I studied for my law school. Here's why I went into my professor's office. Here's the study group. Here's the best places to study.
See, that's great. That's where your mindset should be like, okay, let me figure out what I learned on my journey and then pass it off to other people. That's when they'll start giving a shit, because you're actually teaching them things.
And I think genuinely, if you did this for law school's 3 years, I would almost get, if you actually said, I'm going to go all in on this through 3 years, this would get you a job at a law firm.
100%. That's the other thing too. That this is your portfolio.
Exactly.
People love that shit, even if it's not directly like showing how good you are at doing
law.
law.
Yeah.
Like, people will be this. I like this kid. He's got a lot more passion and a lot of stuff going for him. We know his work ethic is stuff like that. What's the DL on in real life events coming up? Draft, Senior Bowl. Also, let's get a charity golf tourney set up.
So charity golf tourney, I wanted to do last year, just didn't come about. So I'm definitely interested. Should we do? We should definitely do a couple.
We should definitely do like minimum 2 collab events.
Because we were talking about doing an event, obviously, or a general event strategy. We are going to do a Super Bowl event in Arizona. If anyone's out there, details on that will come. But we should absolutely do a collab event this year, because we want to do IRL. Like, it's so important to meet your community, in my opinion.
Yeah, let's do a couple. I actually have 0 travel plans for this entire year, which is honestly music to my fucking ears.
That's great, because you're a New York TikToker. You got to stay here.
That's what I'm saying. If I leave, I'm a fraud. Happy to all out now to get girls in NYC. Me and Jack will link me up with you.
Go to Spiffy Tiffy Taco T football content right now. Combat. If you do that to Vince, I will make content following my journey to become a professional MMA fighter as a 25-year-old from day one. Also, an incredibly intriguing thing. As long as you consistently put out the content, what's going to happen for a lot of people is you'll put out the first few videos. You're definitely not going to get signed to MMA within the first 3 months. So if you do it over the span of 3 years, then people will follow. But you have to be committed to this long term.
Yeah, there's like this graph, right, where think about any project you start. It basically, you get as excited as you're ever going to get about a project, about a brand, about a product at the very start of it. Like, there's no higher level of adrenaline than when you start it. And then immediately when you don't see results, because you never see results from anything right off the rip, it plummets down. And then there's this flatline curve of just work.
Yeah.
For fucking
ever
6 months, a year, 2 years, forever. The people that will succeed doing that kind of shit are the people that are willing to just live on that flat line because they love to do it. So again, I don't want to discourage you from documenting your journey if that's just like your creative expression, if you just love doing that.
Right.
But if you want to actually get somewhere with it, like you have a goal of becoming a content creator or getting a job from it, then there needs to be a little bit more planning, and you need to be a little bit more precise with like the reason you're doing it. And of course you need to be passionate about it. So like you said, consistency is huge for that kind of thing, because you will start off excited. Really easy to get the first 3 eps out.
Yeah.
And then when you have 14 people watching it, really hard to continue doing the grind, because the work to ROI is really fucking small.
It's non-existent. And I think, we put out individual food reviews for every single stadium we went to, but it was the recap content. I think it's because people are like, oh, he actually went and did every single game.
Because now we trust his opinion.
Exactly.
Right.
And not just, oh, they did this, maybe they won't come through, they won't follow through, etc. So yeah, as long as you're committed to doing it, then go ahead.
Need some sort of NY City Bike TikTok, and then that's a good one. I could probably do like a 5 mistakes to avoid when getting on a city bike and TikTok.
And wasn't that one of your tips, is to check where the closest city?
Yeah, that was like one of my first 7 for sure. I could do it.
You saying that you are out of New York content?
No. I meant that in the sense of like, okay, so that one series is like what's really viral for me right now.
Which one? It's
seven things to know if you're moving to New York City.
Gotcha.
So I don't have a lot of more like tips that don't just relate to like Chicago and like every other city that are specific to New York. So I was like, I don't know how many like nuanced little facts about this I can do.
But now you just move it on to a different,
like
but
more
it's same
normal
formula, same New York concept.
All right. I'll take a fucking taste my own medicine. What do you guys think about Spotify as a social platform? Ariel Hawan uses it for community-based stuff in MMA.
It's really interesting. So Joe Rogan's number 1, Caller Daddy's 2. After that, I don't
think Big Content is 3.
Big Content's number 3 on. So they actually have a lot of really interesting tools. They have polling that you can actually put into your episode. They have video podcasts within Spotify, and it sounds like maybe they have even more functionality now. I think that it's one of those things that if you embrace now, our podcast listening for Snapback Sports Pod is like 90-10. So like we're only dealing with a couple people over there. And I don't know if we're tasked with moving people from Apple to Spotify, if it's worth the payoff. But I do think that it's something you could utilize. I'd rather probably own the platform. So like I'd rather build a Discord, or I'd rather build a newsletter or an email list before I worry about that. But they definitely have the tools.
I almost think it's like it's never going to be like your main platform, but I think it's worth thinking about it as where you're putting your podcast or your video content. We use a site called Red Circle. That's really easy. You upload it and shoots it out to every platform. The thing I love about them is they bring advertisers onto the platform. You don't have to negotiate back and forth. They literally say like, can we dynamically just insert this ad read, or you make an ad read 30 seconds and we'll put it into the next week of your podcast. You don't have to do a single thing. Tell us where it is, whatever. And we'll pay you $1,000 at the end of that week or the end of 2 weeks or whatever. I'm like, that's such a value add to me, not having to discuss and negotiate fucking ad signings. Whereas like Spotify is cool. We were on a call with someone from Spotify like a year ago, and they're like, yeah, we'd like to put your podcast on our platform. We also have like video podcasting, which I was like, man, that could be a good value add, especially for one of the first people to jump onto it. They might like push our stuff a little bit more. But I always get hesitant to when platforms or companies come to us and say like, hey, we can up your exposure. You know what I mean? Like that's my natural mindset.
Trust the hoe.
Exactly. That's my natural mindset is like, if that's your value add, then I'm good. If you have something else to add to it and that's on top of it, cool.
Yeah.
So that was my thing with Spotify.
Yeah, like Anchor, Anchor for me is what we use for our podcast hosting completely.
That is Spotify, no?
Yeah, it's a sub brand of it. I kind of operate somewhat separately, but one of their value adds, not the one, is like we'll connect you with other podcasters for collaboration. And it's like realistic. No one uses that. But Anchor is fantastic. Like it is a free to use, super simple. Like I always tell
I'm gonna have to move there because Red Circle started charging me.
Yeah, you can't afford the $8 a month.
I mean, why would I if Anchor's free? It's called being fucking big brain. Idiot. Hold on. I had a point that I was gonna make off of a point you just made. But then you gone and pissed me off. I think in terms of years, how to create and refine and apply as a person as your content evolves. Yes, sir. Any other content questions?
Like, I think, as we talk about the longevity of content and where like people like Logan Paul and Jake Paul, they were never really thinking long term because it didn't exist. Now that we're telling you, and this helps us as well, like now that you are being told that this stuff exists and it will last, I think that's super valuable to be like, all right, I can become a content creator. I got to put in work forever. Like people say, I go to law school, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'll make partner in 10 years. Like
same mindset.
Why wouldn't we have that mindset? I will give you one treadmill / I was actually on the Stairmaster thought. All right, I was on the bike in the gym.
And no one believes you that you're at the gym. Go.
And I was like, holy shit, being a content creator in the content creation phase is just unbelievable. That is the money phase. Where we're at running a business while trying to do this, miserable. Because
it sucks.
You got it. Like there's so much.
Every day is the worst day of my life.
But if you are just like, if all I had to do was create 3 videos a day in my niche and I had the formula for it, like that's life. That is living. This is before brand deals come in. This is before you're trying to do PR.
The crazy part about it is like you think that way when you're at the start, and then these other little things make their way into the equation, and then you get grasped by them, and before you know it, you don't have a choice but to implement them into your life.
Correct.
And then you're overtaken by them and you're like, man, I wish I can get back to the simple days. So I was on a call. We're looking for a full-time fantasy content creator. And I was on a call with one of them, I think like 2 days ago. It's a kid who grew his YouTube channel with another kid. So it's 2 kids, but I was only talking to one of them. I think there are like 20,000 YouTube subscribers, whatever. And I was like, you know, what if I offered you a full-time role? You didn't have to edit. You didn't have to do thumbnails. You didn't have to do any of this shit. He was like, man, if you 2 years ago, you asked me that question, I'm dropping everything. Like I'm working for your brand for sure.
Yeah.
Right now, like I like what we've built and I want to continue to like see it through. So I think there's it's one of those things that you don't really know you're in it until it's over.
I don't know if I would. Well, you're never really in it. I think like the person I thought of was like Alex.
Because when you're in it, you have
Alex Earl
so
right now is like what I'm kind of talking about is like all she has to do at the current moment is create content. But now she's going to the college football playoffs. She's doing brand deal. So now, and she's probably going to build her swimwear line. Like that's where now it's a completely different thing. But if all I had to do was get home from work and create 3 videos using the same formula, adding value in my niche, like, yes, I would have to edit them. That part might suck. But if you ever get to that point where you're just the content creator, that's the gold spot. It's not the most profitable. It's not where you make the most money.
No.
But
I think there'll be a lot of job opportunities in that sense. You know, if you're good enough if you can mix the other things in and you can almost like tread water on those things, but become a great content creator, someone will eventually hire you to do that role for them because that's just the way companies are working. So if I'm anticipating having a ton of free time, I haven't had a job since I was 17, now 25. I want to share with others how I approach challenges that come with law school.
I think it's
a great mindset. If that's truly what your mindset is, you'll enjoy doing it. But again, I would challenge the fact that if you send us the YouTube link to your channel in the Discord, let us know when the first video drops, and then
we'll grade it and we'll give you feedback.
We'll watch, we'll give it feedback, and then we'll see if you ever get to episode 6.
If it's you waking up at Miami Law School and having a smoothie and going to the gym and studying, no one is really going to care. But if it's here's the 5 best ways to, prepare for your testing and stuff like that, and the struggles of student loans and all that stuff, pull up, go to TikTok real quick. I want to share.
This isn't online, actually. I mean, I could do it for us to see, but they don't see.
No, you can share your screen. Have you ever used StreamYard?
Yeah, I have. It just, fuck you.
Can you not do it?
No, I can.
Okay. All right. Search up Kevin Cooney. Wow. The 99 plus notifications. What hits better than that?
Just be like that.
All right. Search.
Hold up. I'm trying to fucking share the screen.
Well,
yeah, I'm going.
You do Chrome tab.
We had a clue.
All right, Kevin.
And one day I'd be losing you in another life.
Peace.
I would be over.
Okay. All right. So this, before you play anything, so he's like just a super funny, kind of really good vibes, really good energy type of guy.
I definitely saw some clips from this.
Yeah. So that's his girlfriend. She's from Boston. And part of their content is about getting engaged, etc. So you see the 296, the 4th one from the right. So click on it and then pause it. So this one is how interest works on your debt, right? So a really interesting concept that I think applies to a ton of people. And I just think that people don't really think about, and you can see the top comment, excellent metaphor, about how to share the content. So his niche is him and his girlfriend. So he's going to bring her into the content, and then he's going to use an incredibly smart metaphor to share how interest works. So if you want to play the video,
they probably won't be able to hear it.
No, you can. If you go to StreamYard,
it has dawned on me that my girlfriend does not
we
know
can't hear, but
how interest works.
Oh, then they could probably hear it, I guess.
So whatever.
Let us know in the comments.
So he fills up the water glass, and
this represents how much student loan.
This is your debt essentially.
How many times you watch this shit?
Just once.
$50,000.
I just
learned well. It's great.
No,
content,
that's how good the content was, right? So he fills it up. He hands it to her and says, okay, so this is your debt. Now the tap is your interest, right? So she's going to start drinking the water while the water is pouring into the glass. And like it's just going to, teach compound interest, right? If you take a small sip and then the interest, doesn't match that, it's going to start to multiply. And then obviously the water at the end ends up. But like, I just think this is so incredibly smart. of a way to
This is you
communicate
paying
as
your
opposed to
student
sitting
loans,
down and being
right?
like, here's how interest
Well,
works
you
on your
better
student loan.
bulk
So,
up the payments
you know,
there.
he's super
It
talented and
dawned
the
on me
creative
that
there
my
is
girlfriend
incredible,
does
but
not know.
just a really strong example I wanted to share.
Yeah, and even going back to the TikTok that I made with the kid who plays the guitar, I think it's like sort of another example of that, of like understanding where your niche is and then also taking something successful from another niche.
Exactly.
Where it's like, yeah, people love couple stuff on TikTok.
Yeah.
You could do normal couple stuff and it'll probably do well, but you
Right.
start to actually teach people things and you're like, fuck, like this is really powerful.
Exactly. So just a really good piece of content.
We bike.
He's
an elite communicator. Couldn't hear it, but I wonder if they even heard that, or if you were just talking over the TikTok the entire time.
Yeah, I have no clue. Best takeaway from the company team meeting. A few things. One, getting in person was super powerful for us. So even though working remote works better for pretty much everyone at the company, occasionally getting in person is super valuable to us.
I individually pitched to like all of your employees, like, hey, our lease is up like this upcoming April. Like we should get a joint company office.
I mean, I'm down.
I know you are, but no, everyone else, like I live in fucking LA.
Yeah, they live in Ohio and Colorado. But and then the real best takeaway was like prioritization and giving everyone a plan. It was really nice to like look at it on the whiteboard and be like, wow, we got huge goals and we can accomplish them. And here's how we do it. So I think that taking the time to do the tough work, like I always joke that I'm running 24/7 on 80%. So I'm rarely going to that 100% where like the guys this weekend who are playing the NFL, like they have to go 100% for 3 hours, and then they got to get back down to 10% for recovery. I'm always at like 80%, coasting through, never really having to, flex that muscle. That was a 2-day flex of the muscle. It obviously exhausted us, burned us out. But going to that place, sitting down, planning out why your content strategy is going to work, why people care about this thing, what you're going to do, and actually creating a plan and then an execution plan from it. It was just a really good exercise for everyone. So that's the biggest takeaway.
You feel like it's going to be, you feel like you're going to be able to translate that energy into production? Like you think you organized it well enough?
I think so.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make sure that we do the proper things to do that. Yes.
Good. All right.
You didn't want to answer his question?
Did he ask me something?
Yeah, it's
I thought it was all yours. Nick, what are you most looking forward to the offseason in terms of BDG content? In terms of content, I mean, my favorite stuff has always been like, you know what's crazy? Like I started doing, we stopped doing like the inner office vlogs for a while. So I started doing my own like TikTok vlogs, and I realized it was just like a balance of like, that was the way I expressed myself. But now that we're back, like I stopped doing the TikTok vlogs as soon as we started doing those. And that wasn't a conscious choice. I just realized like that became my outlet again. So I think we actually just had one go live 19 minutes ago. Like did his job. And those are my favorite things. I'm really excited to continue following the storyline of what we're doing this off season. I'm more excited as a builder of the company than I am as an actual content creator for this upcoming off season. I have a lot of different plans in the work for shifting and automating a lot of the things that I do. So in terms of content, yeah, I'm excited for you guys to continue to be able to follow us. I think that would be probably my answer.
Okay.
Being in the office last week was crazy. Hell yeah, energizing for me as a creator. Yeah, I'm glad you got to experience that. Jordan was obviously one of the Bash finalists, so he was in here.
Yeah, getting in person, especially when you are starting a solo journey. Like I would almost, I actually didn't know who you were talking to. Maybe I might have an idea after your hint of two people, but I think even starting content with others could be a super valuable thing to look at. Don't go through it. We've talked about, you got to get buy-in from them. You got to find the right person, but more times than not, at least then you're doing it with someone else, which will kind of help you keep going.
Yeah.
I think like the trainer concept, right? Or working out with a friend, holding each other accountable.
Yeah. I think it could go, it depends who you are as a creator. Yeah. Some people might work better with somebody else. Some people
hate everyone. So
I'm just a better individual.
Wolf. Yeah. Like literally, I remember in Madden, I would always get tagged with the lone wolf tag as my superstar quarterback. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I like people like that. You would have been like, yeah.
You just weren't old enough to know that you didn't like people. Yeah. I mean, those are one of those things that like unlocks a part of your brain that sometimes you didn't know existed. Like the first time I was around a bunch of people that were business minded or content creators, I was like, damn, I didn't realize that there was like a community of people that existed like this. And then it kind of changed my perspective on the way I wanted to operate going forward. Nick, thoughts on Stenson Bennett? Go. What do you mean?
2-time champ.
103.
Did you do a vlog for the national championship?
We went to American Whiskey and I got footage. It's in the vlog that we just let out, I believe.
Nice.
It's not like the main thing, but it's definitely parts of it. So basically, we have the vlog going out every Wednesday, and then he has to do at least 3 TikTok videos from the vlog that we're putting out there. What is Stenson Bennett? Is he gonna get drafted? He should, right?
Probably like
he's 4th, 5th round, maybe.
So it's like Brandon Whedon vibes.
Yeah, but
And
I
he
almost feel
doesn't
like
really
old
have
quarterbacks don't matter anymore because like if you hit, you're staying until you're like 38.
Right, you play
anyways.
10 years,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree. I think it's more so like the reason you don't draft a 25-year-old quarterback is because if by 25 they haven't shown you the arm strength, the IQ, all that stuff, he's a fantastic college quarterback, but pro wise, like I mean,
what a run! Like 4 years of not really doing shit, and then all of a sudden, like you finally get your starting job in 2 back-to-back.
But like
chips.
Brock Purdy, like what does Brock Purdy have that's embedded doesn't have besides a few years younger?
I don't know. I didn't watch Brock Purdy at all.
Exactly. I don't know. We're not drafting him. And the
fuck. All right, thank y'all for hanging out. If you enjoyed the live stream, maybe we'll do this more often. Maybe we can mix this into our content as well. These are more fun for me, honestly. Like I said, it's kind of like a lifestyle type of content. It's fun just hanging out with you guys. And I feel like you probably get the most bang for your buck because we know exactly what you want to ask us rather than us just spewing on about random shit. But thank you guys. Join the Discord if you're not already in there, of course. Subscribe to the channel. We'll have videos like this going up weekly. And we'll be City Bikes.